Happening fiends and friends, it's your favourite Scottish shellhead here, J2K, and as always, as you know, I'm going to be talking about turtles, and today we're going to talk about The Last Ronin issue 4. So we finally have it. We have issue 4 of The Last Ronin. Now, this book has been one of my favourite books to be reading right now. I know it's been plagued with delays and such, but it's been such a good read. And this issue did not disappoint. This is probably the most action-packed issue we've had so far, which is saying something because a lot of these issues have been crazy action-packed. So we start, open it up straight away, and we see the attack on Baxter's Island. And it's just mental. It's kind of like the first couple of pages of mayhem. You're trying to figure out how have we got there, because we knew that we were going to the island, but they just put us right in there. So this issue did jump about a lot, but the best part of this is because they have 3 different artists working on it, it's easy to actually tell when they're doing different jump backs. Even though it's always notified at the top, the art really helps it have a smooth transition, which is absolutely brilliant. So straight after we read a couple of pages, well, 2 pages of the actual fight scene, we then cut back to Casey training, and Mikey's watching her with the rest of the turtles talking, obviously in their spirit form, about how she seems to be doing quite well, but she's lacking something. At this point we get to see Mikey be Mikey. He just comes up and starts taunting her a wee bit, just to kind of anks her out a bit, which she does. She bites and she starts throwing kicks and punches trying to prove her point. The thing is, he's trained, she's not, so he points out that sometimes that anger does nothing. We see that come to play later on in the issue, which I will bring up at that point. April now comes over and starts talking to Mikey, and the first thing she's asking is, what happened when I was out? So obviously this is a point where we're going to find out about Splinter and Donnie. So we see another flashback, and this time it's Mikey heading off to meet the clan. Now, when they kind of bombard him, he does say these guys are no amateurs. So you see all these ninjas come out of nowhere, and he knows that this isn't a fighting point, this is who he's looking for. At that point he then gets taken away, and he's sitting talking to you. Now, I apologise if I say his name wrong, because I'm reading it and trying to say it in my Scottish accent. You don't understand me as it is. Master Shinotru. So he's sitting down, and as soon as he asks what happened with my brother, what happened with my father, you can see the gazes. You can see that Mikey already knew that this wasn't going to be a great answer, and he did not want to tell Mikey this bad answer. Now we get another, I know that we're already in a major flashback, but now we flash back to what actually happened to them. So they're heading off to this meet, and already you can tell that Splinter's not necessarily anticipating this going well. At first he's optimistic, but then once he realises where they're meeting, he clicks on this isn't what we were sent to meet up for. At that point Donnie then says, I'm going to go and radio the guys, which for me that's already starting to build up this emotion. You're already starting to feel so sad, because we know what's happened, and we know that there ain't going to be no answer on that radio, because as we mentioned in the last episode, they turned the radios off so they could stealthily get away to make this meet. So this was really hard to read. Then at that point, enter the bad guy. And not only is he turned up on horseback, but he's also wearing his old Shredder stuff, which that's saying something. The grandson turning up wearing old Shredder gear never means a good thing. Never means a good thing. And as soon as he opens his mouth, he asks, have you spoke to your family? This is a dig. He knows exactly what he's doing here. Now this is so hard to read, but it was also so awesome, because in one swift move, Splinter just decapitates everyone in front of him. One swift move, and this is when you see Donnie now just start ploughing through people as well. This is the anger I was talking about. This is what we seen earlier on in the issue now come into fruition. This is now the people we always looked up to be the cool, calm ones, not being cool and calm, and they have every right not to be. They don't even know that Mikey's still alive at this point. In their head, they've lost everyone. And I mean, man, the stuff you can do with a staff I never knew, because Donnie sure as hell showed us that. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. At this point you start to see the archers come in. This was probably one of the hardest reads ever, because you start to see Donnie sacrifice himself for his father, telling him to get back, and puts his body in front of the arrows. However, even though he did that, it wasn't enough to save both of them. Hell, it didn't save any of them. It was so hard to really see. Splinter's already threw his sword. I did forget to mention that there. He threw his sword, which didn't make a fatal shot. Unfortunately, it just hit him in the shoulder. So at that point, It was unbelievable. Like, you're just sitting there, you knew it wasn't going to be a kill shot because he's already in this book, but you really wanted it to be. And this is what I love about this, is it's like when you watch a film and you want someone to die in it, and it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, because they're such a bad person, you know they want them to die. Which sounds horrible because you shouldn't really want anyone to die, even if they're fictional characters. But we've all been at that point, like, oh, I wish that shot was cleaner, and this is exactly it. The more I read it, the more I thought, man, if only that was a wee bit over, we wouldn't even have half of the stuff going on. But here we are, we're left with this wonderful art again. I keep saying this, that every time a turtle or Casey has died, we've always got this beautiful art that comes along with it. And we had the exact same again, with the weapons just sitting there with the arrows, just absolutely beautifully done. This book has been beautiful from start to finish. The artists have really worked well together, which has made it so good to read. We know we've lost him. It cuts back to Mikey. Mikey's now been told by the man, you're welcome to stay, you're welcome to join us. But he even admits he was not in the headspace for that. In fact, at that point he just wanted to escape. He quite obviously was dealing with this troublesome news that he just got, which you cannot blame him. So off he heads to sort of fulfill his last Ronin duties. So we then go back to the future where we're at again. And this time it's April and Mikey talking. And they're talking about how Casey may have some sort of abilities. Mikey's asking, did they ever notice this? And then April did bring up, yeah, of course I noticed it. She's faster, she's stronger, and she heals a lot faster than anyone else. We do believe there's an underlying ability. When Mikey asks the straightforward question of, how do you think she got this? The answer simply, we were with you all the time. They believe it was some sort of cross-contamination. This was really well thought of. This book, you can tell, isn't one that's just kind of running with an idea and let's just pull a rabbit out of a hat. This has really been thought of, and I think this point could definitely build into the prequels and the sequels that we keep talking about. I know a few shellheads have talked about how great it would be to have a sort of dual comic with Mikey and Casey going off on our own. And I must admit, when we're talking about what's going on in the future, I was actually expecting this issue to really see Casey donning that mask, donning the hockey mask, but I quite like the look they gave her. You've seen it in the first couple of issues, couple of pages of this issue, but then you also seen it later on at the point I'm going to talk about. So now we cut to the future, the present, whatever you want to call it, where they're planning out this attack. So this is where it becomes, it is the future and present, but it isn't, and I thought this was really well done because they cut back from them talking about the plan that they're going to play out, but they also show you what's happening. And the full time Mikey's always said, this plan isn't going to work, I don't think it's going to work. And that's what we start to see happening, and this is so brilliant because you see them having to fight to keep more and more people alive. Their air bombers aren't getting in the way they wanted because of the fact the gun turrets are still up, so he's got to have to try and figure a way to destroy them. Like I said, this was just such an action-packed issue. It was so good. We then get to cut to the main villain of this issue, Baxter. Man, how cool does he look? This guy's all messed up, his skin's all wrinkled, and lo and behold, as if you couldn't have called it, he's some sort of half Robocop, half Terminator guy, you know, built up like an android robot, half human. It was just so cool. I really like this. This is the futuristic stuff I was excited to see in this issue. This is the stuff that I love seeing, this sort of dystopian future where everyone's all messed up and the guys are turned into crazy villains. Like Baxter was always a villain, but I really like the idea that they went with this sort of cyborg villain. It really suited the character, especially in this dark world that they've started to build. Now, when we see Baxter, this is when April turns up with our favourite little head of this whole thing that's going on, Fugitoid, and we're finally going to get it to turn him on. And she was right, as soon as she turned him on, she mentioned this in earlier episodes and I said it myself, as soon as he's turned on, Baxter's going to know where he is. This is why they couldn't do it, so they do it where they are, right then and there, and straight away what happens? He knows Fugitoid's there. Straight away you see April just trying to hit Baxter. It does nothing, but I loved it because, you know, that pain, that passion that was in it. This is what this comic's about. It's the pain and the passion of these people. They've lost everything and they just want to take everyone down. It's so amazing and it's been so well written. But then it doesn't happen, does it? Baxter managed to get Fugitoid, and at this point you're panicking, you're wondering what's going to happen. Is this it? Is it over for all of them? Is this plan of attack been for nothing? Is all this time wasted, or all these life wasted? But no, our boy Fugitoid hits out with that Lord of the Rings reference. You shall not pass! And how good is it? afterwards. Like, as much as I like that and I got a wee giggle out of that, it was the next part. Again, this is what I'm talking about. He says, for family, for friends. You know, this shows how tight these guys were, and even Fugitoid knows the loss that they've took just to get to this point. And then at that point, we have some more amazing art, and we have the explosion. He just takes Baxter out straight away, and then suddenly manages to shut the entire thing down. And this is where it all starts to change. This is where it gets really exciting, because as soon as he managed to get all the stuff on that island shut down, we suddenly realise that the foot that are in the city centre away off the island, they suddenly shut down, and civilians everywhere start taking them out and start talking about, let's take back the city. At that point, we cut back to our heroes, and we have them celebrating that that was a win. But as is said, we may have won the battle, but the war is not over. And then Mikey says, we also won it at a cost I'm not willing to take anymore. And that's when you start to see the other soldiers picking each other up. We know they've probably lost a lot of people because the plan didn't go the way it was. This is it. This is us about to hit the big fight. So now we're at the very end of that issue. We're now moving into the final issue, and this is going to be amazing. So what do you guys think? Do you think that we're going to lose any more main characters? How are they going to take over the city? Will it be easy? Will it be a big fight? Are we going to have more flashbacks in this one, or is this going to be straight fighting? What do you think? Comment down below and let me know how you felt about this issue and what you want to see in the next issue. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this video in October, remember the club on Instagram are doing our typical reverse trick or treat campaign for charity, which will involve taking donations, but we also have our main man, the Dollar Bin Bandit, doing an amazing raffle. And if you've just watched this video, I can assume you're a big Turtles fan, so you want to be in on this raffle. We have 200 spots, though some have already been taken up, for $10 a spot, and it's a Kevin Eastman blank, where he's drawn every single turtle in their own colour and signed it. This is a must have. So remember, go over to Dollar Bin Bandits page to get involved with that. Or if you don't have the $10 to be part of that and you only have $1, hit up our actual club page and we'll have the PayPal for the charity in that. I hope you all have a great Halloween, and I can't wait to talk to you about the final issue and our full opinion on this amazing run.